So, I've obviously been playing a ton of Call of Warhammer recently in anticipation for Total War Warhammer, and been experimenting a little bit with how to add a persistent quote-unquote universe to my multiplayer experiences. Campaign, of course, is an option to do that, but single-player campaign's never really been a component of this channel, and I kind of have my doubts if it ever will be. It would certainly grow this channel a lot faster, I think, because it seems to be what the Total War market is kind of where the viewers are looking for. But frankly, I think single-player campaigns are boring to watch for the most part. And I don't know if anyone would really want to watch me beat up on AI for 150 or more turns in a single-player campaign. Personally, I find multiplayer campaigns much more interesting, as they kind of have that human element and the potential to really outsmart and outplay someone of similar intellect to you, and I think that makes multiplayer campaigns a lot more satisfying to watch and play, even though for some reason they're never going to have half the viewers that single-player campaigns have. Not sure why that is, to be honest. With that said, multiplayer campaigns are difficult, if not impossible, to set up on a mod like Call of Warhammer. There is hot seat option, but getting everyone on the exact same mod for a hot seat would kind of really be a pain in the ass. So I was kind of thinking of ways that I could make a persistent multiplayer universe. The solution is going to be a faction war. Now, Gojira and I were talking about different faction matchups, and there were a couple that we thought would be a lot of fun to do. I personally really wanted to do High Elves versus Dark Elves, and normally I think that would be the best option. Lore-wise, that would have been a fantastic matchup, but the Dark Elves don't have any properly functioning melee cavalry in this mod, and I'm pretty sure that High Elves would just raffle stomp that matchup. High Elves are one of the best factions in Call of Warhammer. Dark Elves are probably near the bottom. So Vampire Counts vs. Dwarfs was also on the table for this faction war, and I think that would have been pretty interesting as well, but it would probably be pretty difficult for the Dwarves in land battles without rules benefiting them. Their general lack of cavalry and mobility hurts them a lot, especially against Vampire Counts, who have some of the best cav units in the mod, and both factions are going to be in Total War Warhammer anyway, so we kind of shied away from that. So as you've probably already guessed from the title, the faction war we're going to do will be the followers of Khorne versus the Greenskins. Now, we thought this was going to be a really interesting matchup for a couple of reasons. Lore-wise, there's some beef there. Archaon, the Ever-Chosen of Chaos Undivided, and Grimgor Ironhide both have some beef, some history together, just clobbering each other's armies on the battlefield. But from a gameplay perspective, neither faction is close to being the strongest in the game. Chaos and Greenskins aren't amazing, they aren't horrible, but neither of them are great factions. And they each have their own strengths and weaknesses that I think should balance out pretty nicely together. More on that in a moment. So, I bet you're wondering how this is going to work. What the hell is a faction war and what makes it persistent? Well, it's going to be a pretty similar series of videos to the Tug of War videos that Pixelated Apollo does for Third Age. He wasn't the first to come up with an idea like that. I've been in a domination tournament for Rome 2. You might have seen that. Me and Oakley participated in that. But basically, it's going to be like the Tug of War. It's a best-of-5 series is going to be played, and the first to win 3 of those land battles as their faction is going to get to lay siege to the other player's settlement. Each player is going to have 2 settlements to defend, and once they lose both settlements, they will lose the faction war. So we're going to be using a tier system. Each faction has 3 tiers of units and can only select units from the tiers that they have unlocked. Tier 1 will have basic units, and Tier 3 is when you'll get the more very unique units like Demons of Chaos, Spellcasters, Mages, and Trolls. At Tier 1, Khorne is going to have a Chaos Knight General, Chaos Marauders, which are a basic axe and shield infantry for Chaos, Marauder Desolators, which are a 2-handed axe unit with low armor, and 2 Beastmen units, the Gores and Ungors with spears. So they're going to be a rush army. You can make whatever army you want with those units, but you have to bring a Chaos Knight General, and then you have to pick from those other units that I just mentioned. Tier 1 for Greenskins, on the other hand, will be a general unit of Big Guns. Big Guns are a very tanky 2-hit point infantry with quite good melee stats. Night Goblin Archers and Goblin Spears, Orc Boys, Spear Boys, and Savage Orc Boys. And the games for Tier 1 will be played at 14,000 gold crowns. I think this matchup at Tier 1 is really interesting because the Greenskins will have an infantry advantage, especially with the 2 hit point Big Guns anchoring their main line, and the speed of Savage Orc Boys for flanking opportunities, while the main Orc Boy line basically just holds. So They'll also have a range advantage with their Goblin Archers. A lot of the Chaos units for Tier 1 are very lightly armored or have no armor. So Goblin Archers, even though they're not a great archer unit, have decent range and they will be able to do damage to low armor Chaos units. And they also have probably the best tar pit unit in the game with the Goblins. They're very cheap with 250 men in the unit, but they're not incredibly slow like zombies. In fact, Goblin Spears are very, very fast, almost as fast as cavalry. So they're a very good tar pit unit. Chaos, on the other hand, is going to have one significant advantage in this matchup at Tier 1, and that's that they have a heavily armored cavalry unit with the Chaos Knight. And the enemy, the Greenskins, won't have any cavalry to contend with at Tier 1. So it's going to be literally the Chaos Knight having free reign on the battlefield, and the Greenskin player is going to have to use tar pit units to block charges, Goblins to make sure that he doesn't hit the big guns or some of the more important units on the main line. So once a player wins 3 land battles, the game will go to a siege, and the winner is going to get 4,000 extra funds to attack with. And during that siege, the faction war will then advance to Tier 2. Tier 2 for Chaos will unlock Chaos Warriors, the mainline armored unit for Chaos, Marauder Axe Throwers, Beastigors, which are the best Beastmen unit with 2 hit points, and Marauder Javelin Cavalry for Chaos. And the Greenskins will get Savage Orc Archers, Orc Boy Archers, Squig Hoppers, and an Orc Boar Big Gun General, which 1v1 against the Chaos Knight will absolutely eat the Chaos Knight for dinner. In sieges, the players can actually change their generals to Khorne Chosen Infantry instead of the Chaos Knight, or change to Black Orcs instead of the Big Gun Orc Boar. So that's just because cavalry units in sieges are generally pretty terrible. They can't really charge in the middle of a city. So we've actually already played our Tier 1 battles, and they were very exciting to watch, so definitely look out for those in the coming days. But that's basically how it's going to work. If I was a better YouTuber, I'd probably create a world map showing the settlements and areas we control, and just showing the zones of control when I win a battle, who takes a settlement. I would kind of create like a grand campaign kind of map thing, but I'm not very good with that kind of thing. I'm not particularly creative, and I don't really know how to make it more immersive in other ways. So if you guys have suggestions that would be relatively easy to implement to make this more like a campaign and immersive in that way, then feel free to offer it. I'll see if I can try to do something. But what I was curious about, though, was how you want me to handle the commentaries for these battles. And I really do want your guys' opinion on this, so please let me know in the comment section below. But I could do my normal thing. I could just go in and analyze the replay, how I've been doing it for my other Call of Warhammer videos, just my normal replay commentary. Or I could kind of cast them like competitive games. And that style is less spoilerish and kind of more hype, more exciting, like I'm seeing the replay for the first time. And there's less pausing, and there's less like deep level analysis, I guess you could say. If you want more reference on that kind of style, definitely go to the Milk and Cookies Total War Rome 2 tournament videos I did. That'll give you a better impression of how I do competitive casting as opposed to my regular replay casts. But there's definitely a significant difference between the two, so I want to know what you guys would prefer. Or I could just do it from like a lore perspective. I could go in, just show you the replay, and then kind of talk about it like it was a historical battle, like it actually happened, and go deeper into the lore surrounding each faction and kind of mold a story and roleplay a little bit around the results of the battles. That would require the most work, and it could be the most interesting, but it would also have the potential to come off sounding a little cheesy, because I'm not a fantasy writer myself, and I could just read off like a lexiconum, do that kind of thing with the lore, but I don't know what you guys want to see. I could kind of blend it all together. I just want to know what you guys really want from my commentary style in these section of videos. I'm obviously going to continue doing normal videos, but for this faction war, how you want me to do the commentary style. Also, if you have any rule ideas that might make it more interesting, or have a problem with the rules that we've come up with so far, definitely let us know. We haven't actually come up with the tier 3 units, but it's going to be the demons and the trolls and some of the higher tier units for chaos and greenskins, obviously. But if you have any ideas for rules, definitely let me know. I'm more than happy to incorporate them, because I'm most interested in making exciting, interesting videos. The rules kind of come second, and if we can make the games more interesting with the rules, then that's definitely the most ideal thing to do. Now I have no problem altering the rule set at all as we go forward. But either way, I hope you guys enjoy this Khorne vs. Greenskins faction war. I hope that it sounds interesting to you. and I hope that you guys will all be joining me on the battlefield soon. See you all later. Indie Pride signing out. Peace.